Remember those days when people always say, don't buy cheap Chinese-made Android smartphones because they are poor performance and might even explode. Fast forward today, Chinese-made entry-level smartphones are really powerful when it comes to specifications, and that will apply to one smartphone that we are reviewing in this episode of Gadget Review. This is the Redmi 1S by Xiaomi. The original Redmi had been a great success. It is the first Android smartphone that features a quad-core CPU, high-res display, and excellent camera performance priced below 500 ringgit. Despite being a successor, the Redmi 1S maintains the same boxy and chunky form factor. It isn't a sexy device. Fortunately, hardware internals have been bumped up. The 1S now features a more powerful Snapdragon 400 1.6 GHz quad-core CPU and 8GB of internal storage. Other things such as the display, camera, and battery are identical to the original Redmi. The phone has dual SIM capabilities with support for dual WCDMA bands with dual carrier HSPA Plus support and quad GSM frequencies, Bluetooth 4.0 LE, and ships with Android 4.3 Jelly Bean. We will definitely see an upgrade to Android 4.4 KitKat soon due to the Snapdragon processor. The original Redmi is unfortunately stuck at Android 4.2 Jelly Bean. On first impressions, the Redmi 1S feels heavy for today's standards. However, it has a solid grip in our hands and doesn't squeak like a cheap smartphone. One-handed operation is manageable thanks to its reduced bezels. The review unit that we are using is an exclusive white color model, which will only be sold in the Malaysian market at a later time. As we have mentioned previously, the device isn't sexy. But you can't deny that the build quality Xiaomi has implemented on the 1S is way more impressive than some plastic-made smartphones selling way above its retail pricing. The high-resolution display of the 1S is one of the things that draws your attention over when compared to similarly priced devices. It isn't just that, the touchscreen response is really decent and we can type really fast on the keyboard, perform gestures, and scrolling smoothly. The IPS display also demonstrates great viewing angles and decent visibility outdoors. As usual, you can't miss MIUI on Xiaomi devices. The 1S has the same version of MIUI as the Mi 3, which obviously shares the same set of software enhancements and features. Despite having a gigabyte of RAM, the 1S doesn't feel slow. Although you may notice a few transition lags and app crashes along the way, it still remains usable thanks to the powerful cores of the Snapdragon 400 CPU. During our review period, we found out that Google now hogs down the device's performance terribly and we have disabled it throughout the review period. We hope Xiaomi will patch this up in a future update. MIUI on the 1S hasn't been compromised of software features despite not being a flagship device, and the 1S features one thing that the Mi 3 doesn't have. Meet the Light mode, aka Easy mode or Cine mode, whatever you call it. It basically turns your sophisticated smartphone experience into an extremely simplified user experience with huge buttons and fonts. Favorite apps and contacts can be added easily onto the home screen. Default apps like Messages and Phone have also been simplified with basic functionality. Interestingly, there's a female voice that speaks out the number that they have pressed on the dial pad and is even able to read out the caller's number or name on an incoming phone call. We find the Light mode to be very friendly for smartphone illiterate users. It makes the 1S disguise brilliantly as a dumb phone. Now, here's the bad thing. The 1S has double the internal storage of the original Redmi. The phone has around 4.5GB of usable storage on first boot, and that sounds reasonable. However, you can't move apps to the external SD card, which leaves us doubt and wonder the purpose of having storage expansion on the device. We don't recommend buying the 1S if you intend to buy the phone for installing huge games like Asphalt 8 or FIFA 2014. However, we're happy to report that music streaming apps such as Spotify is able to save offline files back into the external memory. The 1S also supports USB on the go, so you won't have to worry on consuming multimedia content. The phone's loudspeaker quality is average. It doesn't output loud volumes, and audio can be distorted at high volumes. Camera performance on the 1S is excellent. Pictures taken are almost on par with some flagship devices. The camera excels in taking both daylight and night shots, producing amazingly detailed pictures with accurate color saturation. More camera samples can be found at our post. At this time of reviewing, the phone's camera app has an issue, which it isn't able to save pictures and videos taken into the external SD card. We have reported the issue to Xiaomi officials, and we suggest using some other third-party apps like Camera 360 as a workaround. The phone does video recording in full HD resolution. Unfortunately, we face quite a lot of choppy frame rates in the midst of recording. We believe it to be a software issue and can be rectified in a future software update. In addition, the camera app has been stripped of advanced control features such as exposure timing and white balance measurement. In real-world usage, the One S feels pretty responsive and you won't perceive it running on a lower-end quad-core CPU. Benchmark results will show you that the One S is faster than the original Redmi and on par with the Samsung Galaxy S3, which makes a lot of sense. Gaming performance is pretty decent on medium graphics quality, though you'll still find notable lags in games like Asphalt 8. They remain playable. Battery life on the One S is considerably good for a 2000 mAh battery. We have the One S receiving lots of instant messages, 2 hours of phone calls, few sessions of quick web browsing, and 2 hours of music playback. The One S is able to last 16 hours on a full charge, which pretty much translates into a full working day. However, we do recommend to have a power bank ready by your side. Call quality is excellent on both SIM slots. Our callers reported clear voice from our end. HSPA Plus performance is pretty decent for a mid-range device like this, and again, thanks to the Snapdragon SoC. So, should you buy the Redmi One S? Yes, it is cheap and delivers features that most similarly priced smartphones isn't able to do so. The One S has a solidly built hardware, a great display, and camera. Sadly, the meager amount of RAM and internal storage issue makes it a major consideration to purchase the device. Though you can root the device to overcome the storage issue, not everyone is a geek. The Redmi One S goes on sale at July 8 at the price of 419 ringgit with limited units available. If you can't live with the compromises that we have mentioned, we highly recommend paying more for the Mi 3. We rate the Redmi One S at 3.5 out of 5 stars. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Redmi One S, and that's it for this episode of Gadget Review. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see more video contents coming right up, and visit our site at KLGadgetGuy.com to read the text article of the Redmi One S. Follow us on social media as well. My name is Warren, and I will see you next time in the next episode of Gadget Review or any videos. That's it for now.